Welcome back, everyone. I'm Big Jim. Welcome to Big Jim's Kitchen. This channel is dedicated to showing you how to create recipes that I've learned throughout the years. Step-by-step instructions on how to do them. Some of them are easy, some of them are more difficult, some are healthy, some not so healthy. Today is going to be a slightly different kind of recipe because it's going to be a combination of the two. If you haven't already seen the thumbnail, today is going to be a cross between jambalaya and gumbo, what I lovingly call Gumbolaya. So, without further ado, let's get cooking. The ingredients for today's video are as follows. I'm gonna have some bell peppers, gonna have some onions. We're also gonna do this one low carb today. I forgot to mention that earlier. So we're not gonna do any rice, but we are going to rice up some cauliflower using a cheese grater. Gonna have some frozen cut up okra, maybe a can or two of diced tomatoes, some chicken. You can do this with chicken, you can do it with shrimp, you can do it with sausage or a combination of all three, but I like to do it with chicken because it's healthier. And a couple of things of chicken broth, and last but not least, your Cajun seasoning. This is all you're going to need as far as seasoning. So, let's start prepping it, shall we? Now, the first thing we're going to be doing is getting our chicken ready. I like to go ahead and cook the chicken first and shred it and then add it to everything else. And these chicken breasts are slightly thick, so what I'm going to do is I am going to cut these things right down the center, trying to have them the best I can. Nice and thin. And go ahead and toss it in the pot. Now we got that in there. I use a whole lot of this Cajun seasoning when I'm busy doing this. So go ahead and start adding some in here. Good for right now. And like I said earlier, I think I said it, forgot to mention olive oil because you're gonna want a little dab of this when you're cooking the chicken. Good enough. Now let's go ahead and set this on the stove and get her cooking. Now we got these in here. Gonna move them around a little bit just so they don't stick. Stir it up a bit. Also, I know I just started, but I'm gonna go ahead and flip it so I can season the other side. Keep in mind this is the exact same pot that everything else is going to go in, so depending on how juicy the bottom of this is, I'm going to go ahead and take these out and then start cooking the onions and the bell pepper in here, and hopefully the same juices if it's not too much. Otherwise, I'm going to take it out and add some more olive oil and cook them up until they're nice and tender and add everything else. There, like I said, at this point, go ahead and cook them until they're fully cooked. All right, looks as though this chicken might be about done. Close enough anyway, so let's take a look. Yep, that's done, or at least done enough. What I'm gonna do right now is transfer this to a different container. And since there's a good amount of juice in there, I don't wanna lose that, so I will go ahead and pour that juice into this container after I got all the chicken, and I'm just not going to do it on camera. Now, what I'm going to do is cut up the onions and the bell peppers, get them ready to be cooked in here, nice and tender, and then add everything else on top of them. Looks good doing it. Now we're going to go ahead and prep these bell peppers. So if you've never dealt with bell peppers before, I found the best way to get them open and get rid of the seeds and all that is this method. Nice, relatively small knife. Go along the seams, so to speak. Didn't mean to cut all the way through. Pull her back. Let it rip off closest to the top as you can. And then, very last bit here. That actually came out really clean. I was surprised. So discard that and rip off the parts with the tiny seeds hanging off on them. Give them a good rinse, and then go ahead and do that for the next 3. Okay, now that I've got a small amount of these bell peppers cut up, I'm going to basically show you how to do to finish it before they go into the pot. So you're going to want to cut these into relatively thin strips. Ooh, just a seed. And when you have them all cut up like that, go ahead and do a cross cut. That's all you need. So now, you're gonna do the exact same thing for the rest of this pile. Finish with the bell peppers. Let's go ahead and cut up the onions. It'll be relatively simple. I should say super simple because you're just gonna be cutting these up the way you normally do all the time. Nothing real simple, or nothing real complicated, excuse my simple brain. Get a nice handful and just toss it in there and do the exact same thing for the rest of it. Now we got this on the stove, gonna go ahead and toss some more olive oil on here. At the same time, go ahead and toss on some more of our Cajun seasoning. Now, the goal here is basically just to let these cook till they're nice and tender. Now it's time to start shredding some of the chicken. You can use some of these larger shredders if you like, but the problem is the teeth are only so wide, or I should say they're almost a little bit too wide if you want that real fine type of shredding. So if this doesn't shred down enough to your liking, I also just go real simple, a fork. Now, go ahead and do this for the rest of your chicken. All right, now that we finished shredding, we have our nice little mountain of shredded chicken. We're gonna go ahead and temporarily return it to this container. And next up, we're gonna go ahead and start ricing the cauliflower. Going to utilize a cheese grater for this. So we clean this off real quick and then check on the onions and bell peppers, make sure those are nice and cooked up enough, and then we can combine everything. And I'm back to check up on these peppers and onions from last time, and these look like they're just gonna be about tender enough for us, so I'm gonna turn this off in the meantime. Right now I'm gonna go start ricing the cauliflower. Now we are to start ricing the cauliflower. Here's your cheese grater. You have different sides to do it. You get the super fine stuff. You got this not as fine. But here, these are the ones that I'm going to use because they're going to be just the correct size. So, simple really. Go ahead and start grating it. And you'll see, this is what you get. Not exactly the same as rice, but close enough if you're trying to do keto or low carb. Yeah, so we're just basically going to do that for the entire head. And we're going to transfer this over into the pot. Now we've finished shredding up this head of cauliflower. If you did it right, it should look something similar to this. And you should have a nice little pile of the riced cauliflower ready to go. So now all we have left to do is combine everything into the pot and then cook it. Go ahead and add the diced tomatoes, the shredded chicken, our riced cauliflower, and let's not forget the frozen cut okra. I need both bags because it looks like they'll both fit. And now let's add some extra seasoning. Then top it all off with chicken broth. Now, let's go ahead and turn the heat back on and stir it every so often until it's done. All right, now it's been going on for a little while. Let's give this another good stir. Everything seems to be coming together quite nice. It takes a little while for this to heat up to the point of boiling, but as long as everything gets cooked. All right, it appears as though we've gotten to the point where this has been cooking long enough. So let's give this one final stir, and we'll turn it off, let it cool off, and go in for the taste test. All right, now that we've given this a chance to cool off a bit, let's go ahead and scoop ourselves up a bowl. Give it a shot. Now, before I go ahead and give this a shot, I want to remind you all to like and subscribe. Now, let's go ahead and give this Gumbolaya a taste test. And I just like to say, like the sound says, this gonna be good, I guarantee. That's so delicious. I love Cajun seasoning. One thing that you have to remember, you put rice in here, it's going to sop up all that juice, all that water, but since it's going to be cauliflower rice, it's going to remain a little bit soupy, but still delicious. Stay around, watch next time.